Evelyn, and welcome back to my Flosstube channel for Flosstube episode 10, the big 10, double digits. If you're coming back, thank you so much for being here, spending a little more stitch of time with me. And if you're new here, this is a channel where I talk about cross stitch and all things crafty, a little bit of sewing, a little bit of knitting. I even have tried quilting since the last video. So yeah, thank you all so much for being here. You can find me here at Evelyn Across the Pond or over on my Instagram at also Evelyn Across the Pond. I almost said at that same name like Mary Ashcraft does. I watched too much other Flosstubers. I think I can hear like I repeat everybody's intros while they start, just like along with them, you know, like whenever Annie Joyfeld starts, I'm like, hello my Flosstube friends. Anyway. It is Friday, June 4th. It's about 3:15-ish, and I am in the middle of a bit of a rainy day here in Cambridge. It's been quite warm this week, but now it's cooled down a bit. Thank you, because it was way too hot for England. It's been a while since the last time that I was here, and I do apologize for that. It's been a crazy few weeks. The kind of first thing that happened was I busted up my knee, which I posted on my Instagram. Thank you for everyone who reached out. That was really cute. But essentially, I fell and skinned several layers of skin off on my knee, and so it was super painful. It only really scabbed late last week, so it was 2 weeks of kind of just raw open. It was nasty. It hurt a lot. I was keeping it elevated a lot, so I just wasn't really in the headspace, you know. And then I've also been teaching a lot, doing a lot of revisions for exams for students and sort of helping them prepare for their exams. So that's only just now finished this week, so that is over. I am free. And I also, the kind of last big work thing that's been going on is I've been working on preparing an article for a submission to a journal, and I just finished it now on Tuesday, and my supervisor's gone on vacation now, and I am giving myself a couple of days of vacation-esque time in the house. So now I'm feeling free and light as a bird. And so now I am filming. And I've really missed you guys. I have a lot to update you on. I have the end of Sania. I have a bit of quilting that I tried. I have some more sock knitting progress that I've been working on. Done a bit more sewing. I do have a bit of haul. Not loads, but enough that I have things to show. And yeah, there's just kind of been a lot. Oh, I also got new glasses. I'll put in a shameless selfie of me in my new glasses. And I also got my hair done. I don't know if you can tell. I did do it for you so that you could see it in its full glory. I have essentially my roots are now a bit more blended into the actual dyed part with some balayage. I think it looks really good. I really enjoyed that hairdresser, so that was very nice to be able to go and be pampered. Also, forgot to show you in my last video, but I got the an Evelyn sewing mug from Emma Bridgewater. Let me see if I can get it to zoom well. Yeah, I love these. I will link Emma Bridgewater below. It's so cool, and it's it's my stitchy mug. And it says my name. I love it. There's 2 mugs that I want. I want a Ray Dunn mug because obviously, and I wanted this one, and I got this one now. So this is holding my afternoon tea. Cheers. All right, let's get into everything. There's 2 kind of admin things before I do Material Minute. The first thing is to say that all of the giveaway winners from last time have been in touch with me, and I have sent everything out to you, so it is out in the little mail sphere, out in the mail space, airspace, whatever you want to call it. And I can report that the 3 winners were from Cornwall, Canada, and New Zealand. So they have gone all over the place, which is just so cool to, think that we all have little ties to each other across basically the whole globe. So hopefully those don't take too long to get to you. I know our buddy in Cornwall already got hers and is kitted up and is like gonna start stitching if she's not already started. I need to check on Instagram to see if she started yet, but hopefully the rest of you get it soon and that it's not too bad and terrible. I'm especially worried about New Zealand, but fingers crossed. So all that's good. And then the only other thing that I wanted to say was kind of to just get a kind of feel for how you guys felt about any kind of other content that you wanted to see on this channel, like in terms of Flosstube extras and stuff. Obviously this is a Flosstube channel and Flosstube updates will always be the point of the channel, but I have gotten some comments from people saying things like that they would be interested in seeing, like I've had some people say that they would be interested in seeing like some home decor stuff or like a little house tour, garden tour, that kind of thing. I've seen other people ask me about like my makeup or like outfits or like, I don't know. I also know that Sean, Craftivating Creations, and her husband Brett, and then Beth Chadwick and her partner Mark, they like filmed this kind of, I think it's partner stitch quiz, where they kind of like quizzed Brett and Mark on their cross stitch knowledge, which I thought might be kind of fun to do with Nico. He's a little hesitant about being on the internet, but we'll see if I can, he's not opposed to it, he just wants to build up, you know, the courage. But I'm sure if he knew that you all were interested to meet him, that he might be a little bit more gung-ho about it. But yeah, so if anybody was interested in seeing any kind of other little like side content from me, just, you know, let me know in the comments below. If you weren't interested, it wouldn't matter. You don't need to watch it. They would probably be put in like a separate little playlist of their own, so that if you were interested you could find them, but you don't have to watch them. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to see what people's like feelings were about that, because I have been getting some people reaching out to me and asking about that. So I thought I'd put it out there. I wonder if you guys can hear the rain. It's very like peaceful kind of rain, ASMR kind of rain. So if you're into that kind of thing, hopefully you can hear it and that it's like peaceful as you stitch. Oh, it's so good to be back. Okay, so Material Minute this week is actually sponsored by a fellow viewer of Flosstube. So Krista over on Instagram messaged me today and sent me a TikTok that made her think of me, and that is the basis for this historical Material Minute this time. So she sent me a TikTok of an archivist, I'll put it on the screen, of an archivist showing a friendship quilt from the 19th century, and I just thought this was so cool, and I literally replied to her and was like, oh my god, this is my new Material Minute. She was like, yay! So I did some more research on friendship quilts, and I found this one to share with you today, but I will link the TikTok below in case you like wanted to look at that girl's account, because I think she has some other cool stuff on there. So the one that I want to show you today is the Evelyn Williams quilt from 1851, which is currently housed at the Winterthur Museum, and I actually found an article about it that was published in the Winterthur portfolio, so I will link to the article below as well. But this quilt was received by Sarah Williams when she married Samuel Evelyn in 1851 from all of her friends in Philadelphia, and essentially 91 of their closest friends worked together to make this quilt for the two of them as newlyweds. And each of the little pieces in the blocks are signed by friends of Sarah and Samuel within their Quaker community, and within their family circles, social networks, that kind of thing. They're part of a much larger Delaware Valley Quaker community in Pennsylvania. There are 121 stars on the quilt, and 91 of them bear signatures of the individuals that knew Sarah, and over 70 of those signatures are still visible today. The ones closest to the center star are Sarah's family members, and it seems like the further out they go, according to the article about the quilt, they're like further extended from her personally, so they're more like on the periphery of her life, I suppose, the further out from the center that they get. So like school friends, members of societies that she was a part of, like the Female Society of Philadelphia for the Relief and Employment of the Poor, and then sort of friends and neighbors who attended the same Quaker meetings as Sarah and her family, which I think is really interesting in terms of the way that we sort of rank social interactions in terms of our connectedness to various people. Her parents actually signed the quilt father and mother rather than their names, which kind of show the relationship between the members of the family, and they are near the center of the quilt, like close to her heart. Her father was a boarder at Westtown School, which is a Quaker boarding school in Chester County, Pennsylvania. So yeah, there's loads of information about the family, especially in this article. I will definitely link it below in case you wanted to look into it. And I just think here you can see an example of one of the signatures on the quilt. They're kind of inked in. There are several types of this sort of friendship quilt. There is the album quilt, which is, if I understand correctly, when each of the individual blocks are very different from one another. So it's like you're putting together an album of things. And then there's a signature quilt like this one where all of the blocks are the same, but they each feature someone else's signature. I've seen some that have like verses on them or like little notes. I know the one that was shared in the TikTok has like different kind of sayings coming from each of the individual people, like things that they wanted the owner to remember about them or about life in general. I think, and that one particular was also a religious community as well. It was a Baptist minister's wife, I think, and then all of her, like 30 some of her friends made the quilts, and they were all members of her husband's congregation. So this is kind of similar, but I can't believe, first off, that it's 91 people helped piece this silk quilt. For one, 91. And for two, I just think that there's so much similarity in that, I think, between then and now in the way that we think about making and what it is that we do. I feel like we all put a bit of ourselves and a bit of our heart into everything that we stitch and everything that we make. And when we share that with other people, it's kind of like passing on a little bit of ourselves. And I just think it's really beautiful that this quilt does the same. And it also makes me think a bit of like round robin stitching that some people are doing in the Flosstube community right now. I know Pam and Steph have the round robin that they're doing with like their whistle stop crew. And then I also know that Stacy Stitches, which if you don't watch her, you need to. She has a really cool personality. I like her a lot. She's doing a round robin of the Flosstube French chart by October House Fiber Arts, maybe? But she's doing that with like Punky Pearls and Bobby at Pumpkin Creek Primitives. Every time I say that, I say Pumpkin Creek. No, it's Pumpkin Creek. But anyway, they're doing this where essentially they pick a pattern and then one of them stitches one part of it and then they pass it on, and that another person stitches that one, so that then when it gets back to them originally, each of the motifs has been stitched by one of the friends. And so it's like a Sal, but times 9 million, because each of you has stitched all of it, if that makes any sense, like for each other. And that's kind of what this quilt reminds me of. And I just think it's really cool that that kind of sentiment of like putting ourselves into things that we make is something that that's still such a part of crafting and making, even 200 years later. So yeah, that's the Material Minute for this week. I hope you guys liked it. If in the future you come across things that you would be interested in hearing me talk about, you just let me know. Send them my way. That was super cool, Krista. Thank you. So, stitching. Let's start with Stitch Sania and where we left off last time. So, I was supposed to have 3 more starts since the last time that I saw you. I only ended up having 2 because the third one I just wasn't in the mood, which we will talk about later. But I did have 2 new starts, so I'll show you those first. And then I will show you my finish and the other progress that I made on the other, like, monogamous whip that I chose. So let me show you the starts first, because they're both quite small. So the first one, this is in one of the project bags that I made the last time that you saw them. There are some new project bags in this video that I've made, but this is one you've already seen. So this is Girl Scissors Sewing Machine by Little Room in the Attic, which I have on Pattern Keeper, so I will pull it up. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. Sorry about the glare. That's kind of what the PDF looks like. And this is all DMC except for the gold, which is Krynic. And I am stitching this on a 32 count rubescent from Chromatic Alchemy. And what is my percentage? Let us ask my thing. I am 2.82% complete. So this is a very small start, but I'll show you here. So essentially, yeah, so I've started in the middle at sort of her waistline, and I'm working on the bottom of her dress. So I've put in either 2 or 3 colors of blue so far. I still have my needle in, sorry about that. But yeah, it's a very small start right there in the middle, but I think that the modeling on this fabric is going to be beautiful, and she's just going to look awesome on this. So I'm really happy that this is a whip now. Oh, and also, I got some new boards for finishing and stuff, so I'm using this right now, but I thought I would show you. This is the type that I've been buying. Clairefontaine, and I get the A3 size, I believe. Yeah, I get the A3 size, and it comes with 5, and I get the 3mm thickness. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see the, come on, autofocus, please. Yeah, there we go. So you can see it's quite thin, but it's thick enough that I can easily push pins through it. So I will link these below, but I have gotten some questions about what kind of mount board I use, so that's the mount board that I use. Okay, so that was that start. Again, like I said, there's not a whole lot to say because they're very small starts, but then the next one that I started was, I'm keeping this in my bag that I got from Mama Loves UGB, and this one is still on a Q-snap, because it's way too small of a chart to have it on an 11x11, so I've just kept it on my 8x8. I know I shouldn't really be doing that, but alas, it is what it is. So this is going to be the Stardew Valley horse that I'm stitching for Nico, because it's one of our favorite games, and I will show you what it's going to look like. This one doesn't work in Pattern Keeper, so I just have it on PDF. So that's what it'll look like. Let me get it to. And this is by A Stitch to the Past on Etsy. I will link it below. Sorry about the glare. A classic edition of my videos is me always saying sorry about the glare. And essentially all I have gotten so far is this little yellow stripe on the sombrero. So I've started on one of the yellow stripes and I'm working on the next one. So this is sort of the bottom of the hat. And I am stitching this on a 32 count limestone from Zweigart. You can see the color a bit better there. It's a very kind of pale green. This is the same color that 100 Owls is on. This is like kind of my leftover scraps from that. And this is another grime guard that I made using the Moda Cider collection. I will link the tutorial that I used for this down below. I changed the measurements slightly because I don't like my grime guards to be super thick, because then I can never like stitch anything near the edge. But I will put it down below just in case you wanted kind of like a baseline, how do I make a grime guard tutorial thing. Because the other 8x8 one that I had was like shedding a lot and it was weird. So I was like, I'm gonna make my own. So those were my 2 new starts. I was supposed to start Hello Sunshine by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, which I do have all kitted up and everything, and I have signed up for the sale, so like I have the chart. I just wasn't in the mood to start it last weekend because I had worked so much on Hello Petal. So I think I'm gonna give myself like another week or 2 or whatever and start it before the next release probably, but because I still kind of want to do it this summer like with the sal, but I just wasn't in the mood to start it yet because like I said, I was working on Hello Petal. So why don't I show you that next? And this is actually a finish. So I did meet my goal of finishing it before Sunshine came out, and I will show it to you. So I, as you all know, did a full color conversion on this chart. Oh, it's so good. Okay. So sorry. I did it on 28 count white cashel from Zweigart, and this is what she looks like. Here she is. I love it. Okay, let's talk about everything because it looks quite a bit different than the last time that you saw it. Oh, wait. Last time that you saw it. I'm always forgetting to do that. Okay, so I have obviously finished it since you saw it, but I also made changes to the parts that I had before because there was things in the color conversion that I didn't like, so I changed them. And I have written all of this down, and I will be putting it in a Google Doc and linking it here underneath in the description box, so in case you wanted to use my color conversion, you can. And I'm also going to, I think, get a link tree or something for on Instagram, and I'll link it there as well in case you are an Instagram follower and you want somewhere to access it like more all the time than having to go to this video and find it and everything. So let's get her set up. All right. So first things first. Originally, okay, the last time you saw it, we were over here. So originally, this was orange, or let me rephrase. Originally in my conversion, this was orange and this was yellow. Like the same color as this, basically. And essentially, it just bothered me. It bugged me. And this one up here was supposed to be pink. So what I did was I actually flipped it and I made this flower be blue. And so then this would be pink and then this would be orange so that none of these ended up having the same color next to each other. I also had done this in a much darker pink, which I didn't end up liking. So I switched it to the lighter pinks and then kind of copied that throughout. And this was also a darker pink. And so I ended up making that the lighter pink as well so that it all kind of blended together. I did the bunny in a gray. Or, well, 2 grays, I suppose. And then I ended up doing the mouse in 2 different browns. They are not the same browns as the tree trunk. They are 1 shade off, each of them. So the tree is in 433 and 435, which is the called for in the pattern, actually. And the mouse is 434 and 436. So it's slightly different than the tree, but since it's in the same color family, it really goes together well. And I didn't want it to be the exact same as the tree, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And then the chick is the same as the pattern, except for his beak and feet are supposed to be red. Oh, sorry. His beak and feet are supposed to be red, and I actually did them as orange. Oh, except for I did the Easter eggs as just actual eggs. So we have a white kind of egg, a tan kind of egg. I'm sorry it keeps like going in and out as it's trying to focus on that. A white kind of egg, a tan kind of egg, and then a robin's egg. So I mixed kind of the blue and the tan together to make the robin's egg. Let me see if I can show you that up closer. Yeah, there we go, like that. It's up close and personal with my stitching here. It's a little brighter in person than it's looking on camera. It's kind of washing out a bit. Let's see if I can... Yeah, it's a bit more like that, I think. Yeah, it's more like that. And then I moved down and I did this part. And I ended up changing the sheep to be a sort of light gray with a slightly darker gray. And then I gave it kind of like peachy pinky skin and pink ears. And then I copied for the nest. These eggs are the same as the ones in the tree to try to give kind of like coherence between the eggs. And then I changed the bird to be a robin. So I did the browns here that are in the tree and the mouse to make his little back part. And then I used the same red as in the ladybug for his face. And then a mixture of these grays for his tummy to make a little spring robin. And that's what I ended up doing for Hello Petal. I'm really, really happy with it. I hope you all like it. I'm really pleased that I did a conversion on it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'll actually, you know what? Let's put what the original looked like the pattern, and then mine next to it for a minute, just so that you can kind of see the changes that I did end up making. And like I said, I will link this whole conversion below. So I'm planning to finish this the exact same as I did Hello Dear. So I'm going to mount it on one of these with some batting and then put a trim around it. Let me actually pull the trim out. So this is a trim by Lady Creates in the color Witchy. And this is the mini pom-pom trim. And I'm going to put this around the outside. I think that goes really well, colors-wise, with the greens in the chart. It looks a lot more matchy in person than it's looking like this because this is getting really washed out. I'll see if I can take a picture of it in like my lighting and insert it as well so that you can see it that way. But this green actually is the same color as this darker green in that top flower right there. You can see it a bit better there. But yeah, so that's gonna go around the edge, and then it's gonna sit on the easel in my living room. So hopefully I can get that finished up before the next time that I film. I do need to get some more batting, so that's why I've kind of been holding off, but hopefully I will have done that by next time. It's gonna be weird not to have Hello Dear up in the living room. I've had it up in the living room since I finished it in December. I never took it down because I just like it too much. So I was like, well, I'll just wait until I have the next season up. But then now it's taken me until June, you know, but whatever. Okay, so let's talk next thing. After I finished that, I went back to 100 Owls. So I will show you where I got to on that. This is the 100 Owls stitch along from Owl Forest Embroidery. This is no longer a stitch along because it is over, but it is still a chart that you can get on their website for free. So if you go to the, well, I guess if you speak Russian, then you can go to the Russian version of the website. But they do have an English version of the website. And if you go to charts, and then when you go to charts, there's like printed charts, digital charts, and then free charts. And if you click on free charts, you can find the 100 Owls chart, and it gives you like all of the parts in one PDF. And that is still free, even though the stitch along is finished. So in case you did want to stitch this, you can. I am doing the DMC conversion on this chart because I started it at a time when I couldn't really access the Owl Forest threads, although their threads are lovely, so I think in the future I probably will try to do one of their projects in the Owl Forest threads. I'm using their conversion, not my own conversion, and I'm doing it on 32 count Belfast in limestone, which is, like I said, the Stardew horse, and that is the called for fabric. So this is what it looked like the last time you saw it. I'd made some really good progress, and since then I managed to finish one more part. Okay, yeah, there we go. So since then, I finished this part down here. So I'll zoom you in now. Beep. All right, so that's the part that I did since last time. So there is a little acorn with a leaf, or maybe that's like a nut. And then there's acorns as well beneath the owl. And then there's that sort of gray owl, and then the owl with a huge tail, and then two kind of smaller owls, and then the one that kind of has the rings around its face. So that was one more part. So I managed to get, since Stitch Sania, I managed to put another 3.5 parts finished into this. So I'm really pleased with that progress. Basically now what I have to do next is the huge owl with its wings spread at the bottom, and then the little bits around him. There's like a couple of little, let me hold it this way so I can show you. There's a couple, so he's right here, and then there's like a couple of little doodads here and a couple little doodads here, and then some owls right here and some owls right here, and then all that's left is then the border. So there are still several parts left, but the basically like 3/4 of it is done. And this is 60 out of 100 owls that I've done now, which is really cool. Because each one of the owls, I think I mentioned this last time, but each one of the owls on the chart has like a number next to it so that you can know how many you've done out of the 100. But I think this is turning out really beautifully. I'm really enjoying it. I wished I had stitched a little bit more on it, but when I hurt my knee, I took a couple of days off of stitching, and then I was kind of getting like burnt out a bit, so I only managed to do one more part, but I still think that's good. So yeah, this is it. I love it. It looks so good. I can't wait to have this hanging up. Hopefully, I think its birthday is October the 10th. So if I can finish it by October 10th, I will be one happy girl, because then I'll have done it in a year. which I was supposed to have done it way before that because this was a weekly sal, but alas, you know, we do things at our own pace. Okay, so then the last stitching that I've done is since I decided, to not start Hello Sunshine yet because I wasn't feeling it, not that I'm not feeling the chart, I just wasn't feeling starting it yet. I went ahead and picked up my Christmas wreath because the new part for that came out. And so that's what I've been working on the past couple of days. And this is the Frosted Pumpkin Christmas wreath by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I am doing this on 28 count natural casual linen. And this is a stitch along. This was clue 7, I think, that we're on now. And so there'll be 8, 9, 10, and then the 11th clue is how to make it into a pillow, because it's going to be a pillow. I will show you what it's going to look like now based on the parts we have released. And this is where it was last time. And so I've done my kind of same green strategy as before. So I have outlined, this is where the next part is going to be. So this was the last part. Like that was the last part. So I just did that completely backwards. Okay. That was the last part. So this is the new part. And essentially I've done all 3 of the greens now. So now it's just filling in these little outlined motifs. I'm enjoying doing these that way when the parts come out. So tonight, hopefully, I can start on Mrs. Claus, because that's who this is. And then there's the candy cane, another little peppermint patty swirl type thing, and then some more of the Christmas lights like this over here, and then some snowflakes. So that's going to be what I'm going to work on tonight for my happy little Friday night stitching. I absolutely love this chart still. It's just the cutest dang thing in the whole world, and I love it. And it makes me happy to stitch on it. Like, whenever I pull this out, I smile. Like, I love it. And I'm really excited to work on Mrs. Claus so that Santa has his lady on here. Oh, and I think I am going to, I don't know if, maybe I can show a picture of it or whatever, but I had changed Santa's mouth. I don't think you'll be able to see it enough from in the grind guard. Can you see that? Oh, yeah, you can actually. Okay. So I made Santa's mouth a bit tinier than was charted in the pattern because I thought it was cuter if it was tinier. And I think I'm going to do the same thing for Mrs. Claus's mouth so that they match, and also because I still think it's cuter. But the glasses that she has on are the cutest things I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm very excited to do her glasses. So that is my update on that. And this is kind of my current project right now. I think once I finish that in the next couple of days, I'm probably going to go back to doing my rotation wheel of 3 days, because I was really missing that actually during Stitch Sania, doing so much like monogamous stitching. It was actually a lot. So I think I want to go back to my rotation for a while and kind of work on my whips that I already have before I have a bunch of other new starts, which I think was probably one of the other reasons why I wasn't that keen to start Sunshine, is because I have a lot of new starts since like March Madness to now, where I've only actually gotten to start them for like a day and then I had to move on to something else. And so I have a lot of starts that only have like 100 stitches in them, and I'd really like to like work on some of those. And I think using my little rotation wheel would be a good way to like get through some of those. Not necessarily for finishes, but just to be able to touch them. Like, I want to work on the projects that I have. Every time I open my thing, I'm like, oh, I forgot I'm stitching that. And it makes me sad. So, yeah, I think that's my current plan, is I'm going to finish this and then do my whip, my little whip wheel or whatever. And what I might actually do is put Hello Sunshine on the wheel. And if it lands on it, then I'll start it. Because, like I said, I already have it kitted up or whatever. So if it lands on it, I'll start it. But until then, probably going to just keep working on whatever I land on. Okay, so the only knitting project that I've touched since the last time is my sock, and I am using I believe it's the Osterman Step yarn. Let me see if I can find the tag for it. Where is the tag? Hello, where is my tag? Hello, where is the tag? Yeah, I can't find the tag right now. I believe it's Osterman Steppe yarn, but I will put the color name and everything on the screen and in the description box below. And I'm doing this on 3mm circulars. I had been using wooden circulars and then they snapped. So I have metal circulars now. Nothing to do with the brand. It's just that they were small, and doing like small sock netting, you can break bamboo needles. So I have gotten metal needles now. And so the last time that you saw it, let me see if I can scrunch this up to hide this from you. Okay, the last time that you saw this, I had cast on. So this is the marker of when you saw it. See if I can. Yeah, this is the marker from when you saw it. So I had just finished the cuff. This first row of the cuff, like the first stripe of the cuff. The cuff goes to here, but so since then I have, and I should say, I'm using the Crazy Sock Lady How to Knit Socks on Magic Loop tutorial. I did get a question on that in my last video. I am using Magic Loop, and there is a YouTube tutorial for it that I am following from Crazy Sock Lady. I will link it here. If you are wanting to cast on socks this month, or like you've been thinking about it, you might want to try doing it this month, because Crazy Sock Lady is now running her like summer sock camp. Let me rephrase. Summer Sock Camp 2021 event, and it's on Ravelry and on YouTube, and like if you join and cast on socks in the summer, you can like win prizes. Anyway, I'll link it to if you were interested. But since then, and I will put it this way, eventually I need to get sock blockers so I can like show you cool stuff like that. But I have gone and finished the cuff, did the whole leg, did the heel flap and the heel turn, finished the toe, finished the foot decreases, and I'm now working just on the plain foot of the sock, and then I'll have the toe. It's hard to like show it without sock blockers, but see if you can see it like that. So yeah, so here's where the heel flap is. Is that gonna, there we go. Here's where the heel flap is, and then this was where I turned the heel, and then you can see here, this line is the line of the decreases because essentially you have to pick up a bunch of stitches when you put on the heel flap and the turn, and then you need to decrease them away so you get back down to the same count of stitches that you had on the leg. I'm doing the medium size, so this is 64 stitches, and like I said, I am doing this on Magic Loop, and yeah. I believe I did do 2 changes. I made the cuff only, yeah, that's what happened. She said to do 20 rounds of the cuff, and I only did 10 because I like smaller socks. And I think she said to do like 60 or something rounds for the leg, and I've only done 30 because I like shorter socks. Not shorties though. I think shorties would be more like this kind of size, so they're not shorties, but they are shorter than her socks. Just a personal preference thing. So yeah, so I'm working on the foot. I did like another 4 rounds last night while we were watching Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I only did 4 because I wasn't like working on them that hard. I kept picking them up and putting it down again. But so hopefully if I can get more of the foot, and then I'll get to the toe decreases, and then the toe, and then I'll be Kitchenering up the toe, and then I can move on to the second sock. And then I will have a pair of socks, people. I can do it. I think in the future I'll probably knit socks on a slightly tighter gauge than 3mm. I might do like 2 1/4, 2 1/2, or something like that. But I think this is quite thicker sock yarn, so I think it kind of works for this, but just so that they could be more like wearable in different types of weather, because these is going to be warm. I can tell you that right now. But I really like how the pattern is stitching up the stripes. I think they look really good. And also considering the fact that I didn't like cut the yarn at all to pay attention to the pattern, I just like knit everything and then picked it up, and the stripes ended up really good for doing it that way. Because I know sometimes with some yarns you have to basically like cut off the thread or whatever if you want to pattern match, and then wait till it gets to the next repeat and then do it again, but this did it automatically. So that's pretty good. So yeah, this is my sock. I'm getting there. So that's the only knitting. I didn't pick up my hat or the blanket because I was just sewing like a mad fiend. So, get it? Haha. Oh my god, I really am a mess. All right. So, first things first. I know I said that I wanted to take the little charm pack that I got from the Moda Folktale collection, and it's a mini charm pack, so they're 2.5-inch squares. And I had said that I wanted to make a little like patchwork project bag out of it. I changed my mind, and I ended up making a little patchwork pillow out of it. So I used a pillow tutorial by Tanya Lynn, I believe. I will link it below. It was really easy to follow, and it's to make a little quilted pillow with a charm pack. There are a few things that I changed. The main thing that I changed is that I think the pillow that she made is for like a 16 by 16 pillow, but I didn't end up wanting to use all of the squares of the charm pack because I didn't like all of the patterns together, and I wanted it to match the colors of my living room. How many times can I say that? So I left some of them out, so I had less charm pack squares than her, and she also did a white kind of offset pattern on them. I'll put a picture of what hers looked like here. So I left off the white, and then I also used less squares, so my pillow ended up being significantly smaller. I have a 12 by 12 pillow form in here, although the pillow itself is actually 11 by 12, and I probably should have trimmed that so that it was 11 by 11, but I didn't really think about it until after I'd made the whole pillow, so whatever. Like, it is what it is. I mean, I did change the measurements significantly, so it's like my own fault, but this is the pillow. Isn't it cute? Oh my god, I love it. It's so cute. Okay, let me tell you everything. So, this is the first time I have ever quilted anything in my entire life. And it actually went all right, I would say. There are things that I learned. So, I used the Moda Folktale collection, and I also used the Moda Folktale collection for the, like, these two border colors, the inner border, the outer border, the binding, and then the backing. And I really like all these colors together. They're all set on point, so I essentially, like, pieced them in strips, all using 1/4-inch seam allowances, and then I took some, like, scrap canvasy fabric that I'd gotten from Hobbycraft, and I quilted, like machine quilted, some sort of straight lines offset from each of these points, so that it's like washing out quite a bit, sorry, so that it would make kind of like a square around the points, if you see what I'm saying. And then kind of looks like that throughout. And I used the like directional pressing techniques and stuff. So, what's that called? When you make the seams interlock so that the points are perfect. Oh my god, what's that called? I've forgotten the word for it. I'll put it on the screen. Alas. So I did that, and I think they turned out really well. I'm really pleased with the points on these. The first one that I did was really bad, and so I unpicked it, and I did it again, and then since after that, I had it, like, down, I think, in terms of making all of these points match up. So I'm really pleased with that. The actual quilting part, like the doing the lines and stuff, went okay. Now, for the part on the actual pieced part, it was fine because I was literally just doing like a 1/4 inch from each of the like edges of the squares. So that lined up great. The problem was keeping it straight when I went out onto this part because there was nothing to like match it to. So as you can see, some of them are like a good square, like this one and this one. And then this one is like a bit wonky. This one is a bit wider or whatever. So what I learned from this is that I needed to get a guide for my walking foot so that it had like, I could set the exact measurement and they would be the exact same distance every time. So since then I have done that, but that's something that I learned from this. It's not like off enough that it concerns me like a lay viewer would have no idea that that's like super off. So I'm fine with it as it is. But that's one thing that I learned from this. The second thing that I've learned is with the binding. Now, luckily I had practiced binding before because of Liz's vinyl tutorial. But I had an issue where I didn't know that you are supposed to cut the binding plus an extra 10 inches so that then when you go to like lay them over each other and cut it to then piece it like this, the binding will lay flat and that you'll have enough room. Essentially, I cut it to the exact perimeter of the pillow, and so then what happened is I got to the end and they couldn't overlap because they were like the exact same. So it was just like raw edges. So what I had to do was piece in, can you see that? Yeah. I had to, so there's one edge. And I had to piece in a piece here, and there's the other edge, so that then I could piece it close. so that's something that I learned about the binding. It ended up all right. Like, I figured out how to do it. But yeah, in the future, we'll definitely be cutting an extra length on the binding so that I don't have that issue again, because I was futzing with it for much longer than my sanity needed me to be. And then for the back. So the pillow that I ended up getting from Amazon for this was like way too full. It made it so like the pillow didn't really want to close on the back. And I did follow the instructions from the tutorial, but they're just, I guess because I had changed the size of the pillow, the like width of the overlap of these two sides wasn't quite as much as I think is normally on an envelope pillow. So on the original, there was no buttons because she didn't need buttons for it to stay closed, but mine did. So I took some, I like ripped open the pillow, took some stuffing out, overlocked it shut again, and then I like using my overlocking foot, and then I used my buttonhole foot for the first time and made 2 buttonholes. There's one. Now, I think in retrospect, I did it in the white because I'd done all the quilting in the white and stuff. I think looking on it now, I wish I'd used the same yellow as I did with the buttons, because I think that looks really nice in terms of, can it focus, please? Focus. Yeah, I wish I'd use that yellow because it blends in really well with the background, but whatever, you know, you live and you learn. At the time, I thought it was fine because I didn't know that I was going to try to match this, but whatever. So I made my first buttonhole, and then for the buttons, which I will tell you about in a second because they were from Happy Mail. Essentially, I knew I could sew them on by hand, but I wanted to learn how to use a button sewing foot. So I got a button sewing foot and a darning plate, and I did it on the machine. So I machine sewed the buttons just to learn another skill on my sewing machine, and I'm really pleased with it. It's still like a little tight on the back, I guess, in terms of like gaping, but it's not that bad, and it's a pillow and no one looks at the back, so whatever. So this is my little pillow, and it sits in our living room chair. I will insert a picture of it in its home here if I can. So this is my first ever quilting project, and I think it actually turned out not too bad. But this was kind of like 4 or 5 nights of cross-stitching that was taken up by doing this pillow. So that's part of the reason why the owls didn't get much more on them than that. The next kind of part of the sewing adventure was that since I had quilted this, I decided that I wanted to try to do another one of the vinyl bags from the Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch vinyl bag tutorial, which I will link again. And I wanted to try to do it, but I wanted to quilt the inside. So that led me down a path of learning that we will discuss now. I will also say I have been watching an absolute, in a word, crap ton of Great British Sewing Bee. If you have not seen Great British Sewing Bee, you have to. Like, I cannot explain to you as a maker how much you need to watch Great British Sewing Bee, especially if you love sewing and quilting and stuff. It's made me want to pick up my sewing machine like every day, which I have been doing, as you will see. And I think I'm like, want to learn how to sew clothes now. Literally, I'm addicted to it. They've just put all of the seasons up on BBC iPlayer. There's currently the one airing on TV, which I've also been watching, but they just put all of the rest of them up on iPlayer, so I've been going back through and binging every single season. I have gone backwards from 7, so now I'm on season 3. So I've watched 7 is the one that's currently airing. So I've watched 6, 5, and 4, and now I'm on 3. So yeah, so I've also been binging that. So while I've been doing all of this Sewing Bee has been on in the background. But I will talk about the sewing clothes part and plans. Anyway, suffice to say, I've been on a sewing kick. So I decided to sew some, to try quilting a bag. Now, the bag that I made this for is holding 100 owls. And I used some Lewis and Irene fabric. Can you see that? With owls on it. It's so cute. And this white owl, he glows in the dark, and same with the little stars. It's just so cute. I think it's Nighttime in the Forest is the name of the... Nighttime in the Forest. And then I got the blue version, because I think this is also in purple and in green, maybe? But that's Lewis and Irene. Anyway, so I got that fabric, and I was like, I want to use this. So I decided I would use the same yellow from Moda Folktale, and I used a blue zipper. And this is my first quilted bag. There are several issues with this bag, which I will now discuss. Not to trash myself, but just to explain the learning experience for anybody like me who had not really quilted anything before and then tried to do this. Tips to keep in mind. First things first. How do I want to even start this? Okay, the first thing that was an issue was I cut the backing fabric to the specifications that I'd used for all of the other vinyls for this, which is the ones that Liz lists, which is a 13 by 16. So you have an inch border on all sides, essentially, when you start binding it over. I did that for this, but because of the quilting, it shifted, and then I didn't have enough space for the binding. The reason why the quilting shifted was because I didn't baste around the edges first, which was an egregious mistake, because then by the end it had shifted over significantly, and I was getting a little bit of bubbling, and then the binding was not right. Some of the edges had only half an inch of fabric left, and I'm supposed to be doing a full inch to be able to bind it, so that then the binding ends up being a quarter inch or whatever. So that was the first issue, was that I didn't baste it, so it shifted. Although you can have it not shift while not basting, but because I wasn't good enough at it, because I didn't baste it, it shifted, and then the binding didn't have enough on the edges. And the second problem, which is pretty obvious to the naked eye, is that the quilting is entirely skew width. I don't know, you can see it better you can see it really a lot on the back. So these triangles, or whatever, triangles, they're square diamonds. They should be perfectly on point at 45-degree angles, and they are totally not. And this is because I thought that when you quilted like this, I didn't realize that you had to measure it to be at a 45-degree angle. I thought you kind of just started from the corner and did the same distance across, and then it ended up being perfectly parallel this way. Incorrect. I ended up getting them they're the same distance apart mostly, although this was before I got my guide foot in the mail. So they are less even and straight than the new ones that I got. But I did a relatively good job on that part. But the problem is that they're completely tilted to the side. Now, because this is a project bag and it looks all right or whatever, I'm not gonna unpick it and redo it, because it's not bad enough for me to redo it. However, I will not be doing it like this again. So after I did this, I was very discouraged. Even though it is cute. I'm not trying to, sass myself or anything. It is a cute bag. It's just, there are things that I didn't know were going to be a problem that are a problem. So, but I did make the little pouch to go with it. So, after getting discouraged, and Nico being it looks fine, baby, don't be sad, it's going to be fine. And then I was no, I'm going to try again. Because that's the only way that these things get better and that you learn, is by just doing it again. So I decided I'm going to make another one, but this is the one. So I was okay, we're going to try again. I will not, let myself get down about this. So I tried again with this bag. This is currently holding Quilted Bees by Long Dog Samplers, but I will take it out so that you can actually see the inside. And essentially I made a fabric order from Lovecrafts for some new fabric to try again, and I will show you the fabrics that I got at the end. But this is from a Craft Cotton Company fabric order, Craft Cotton Company fat quarter bundle. Man, say that 5 times fast. Okay. This was after my guide foot came in, and this is a lot better. So, to fix the edging problem with the binding and stuff and it shifting, I basted this first, and I also cut an extra inch on all sides. So instead of cutting 13 by 16, I cut a 14 by 17 rectangle. So that then at the end, even if it had shifted, I could still cut off like half an inch on every side so that it would still end up being like 1 inch around, which I would recommend if you are going to try this and you are not an experienced quilter like myself. So step 1, that fixed that problem. The second thing was I correctly measured the 45 degrees from the corners this time, marked it, drew the line across from the corner, and then once I'd done all of them on one side, then I did it so that it would be perpendicular from the other side. So that fixed the angle problem, and as you can see now, they are turned like appropriately straight up and down. I used the guide foot for this, which helped a lot in making everything be 1 inch apart, which is harder to see from the back because it kind of like blends in to the backing fabric, but you can see it from the front because I used like a contrasting color, which I don't know if I would do that again, the contrasting color. I don't know how much I like how that looks, but you know, you live and you learn. So that kind of fixed the main problems. The one thing that I don't like about this is I feel like it's kind of too many squares. Like the 1 inch guide settings, I feel like it actually just made too many squares for me personally. So that's what I learned from this one. So I was like, okay, so on the next one, I'm going to try 2 inches or an inch and a half, 2 inches, so that each of the individual diamonds would be a bit bigger. Oh, and this is the little pouch that I made. So it looks like this. I do think this one's really cute, and the major problems were fixed, but it was just like personal cosmetic preference thing. I felt like I wanted a bit less of these on the next one. So I made 3 more. Y'all, I was on a sewing kick, I'm telling you. Like, I've had Sewing Beyond so much that, like, whenever the theme song comes on, Nick was like, duh, 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 duh. Like, that's how much I've been playing it. He calls it my Stitchy show now. So I made 3 more. And for each of them, I used a 2 inch or 1.5 inch border, and it made like bigger things, and I'm really pleased with all of these. I'll show you the one that doesn't have its own extra information first. That's this one. And this is holding my Oh My Gourd by the Frosted Pumpkins. And this is using another Craft Cotton Company fat quarter bundle. Oh, I said it right that time. And the little zip pouch for this, I didn't end up having, because they were fat quarters and because I now am cutting like a 14-17 each time, I didn't have quite enough fabric left over on this one. So I ended up doing a little striped one. So I had a bit of this on the top as like a border, and then I have the pink on there, and then on the inside is the pink again, because I ran out of this one. So that's what I did. And I think it looks cute like that as well. So that was a little, you know, fast thinking. For this one, I did the same measuring tactics, but this time I did a 2 inch quilt. You can see it better this way because it won't be glary. I did a 2 inch one, and I'm very pleased with that in terms of like the number that there is that you can see through the window, if that makes any sense, of the little quilt squares. And I'm really pleased with the angle, and I was like getting more comfortable with the walking foot and with the guide for the walking foot and everything, so that was really good. I did do a contrasting thread on this one, so the top stitching on the actual like binding and zipper placket and everything is in the navy, but then the quilting is in the white, which I actually like them being in different colors of thread. I think at first I was less comfortable with changing thread colors, which is why I was always just using the same color for the whole thing, like the one where you have like the navy on the pink. But I think I like it better like this, where although there's white on the back of here because of that was the quilting part, but I think I like it better like this, where the top stitching color matches the fabric and then the quilting color matches the fabric. But again, something that you only learn by continuing to do it. So that's this one. And then the other two, the patterns that I used for the inside fabric were a bit more directional. So I actually kind of used the pattern of them to figure out where I wanted to place the lines. So this is the first one. And this is holding Celebrate Winter by Madame Chantilly. And the pouch is just one of the regular ones. I had enough fabric on this one. This fabric is Ruby Star Society, and this fabric is Craft Cotton Company that I used for my tray like ages ago. And this, I'll show you that in a minute. And what I did for this one is I used the same technique again of cutting an extra inch, doing the basting first, and then, oh, another tip for new quilters. When you do lines like this on the bag, you want to start on a line that crosses the middle and then move out so that then you don't get bubbles between the quilts, which I didn't know the first time. So important thing to know. I didn't have enough of this pink left to do the diamonds up and down, so I had to do them sideways. And then what I thought, which I still like how it looks, but I thought, well, what I kind of wanted, because the actual pattern is diamonds, is to have the diamonds like in the pattern enclose the other diamonds, if that makes sense. So I measured it so that each one, can you see that enough? Kind of. Oh, there we go. Okay. So you can see that now. So I've measured it so that there's 4 of the little pattern diamonds within each of my quilt diamonds. So you can see on the back. They're like diamonds, but they go sideways, like horizontally. And I really like how that turned out. And it was pretty easy to measure. So I just checked it, made sure it was like at the appropriate angle to where it would kind of cut the edge of each of them. And then I used the guide to make it be the same every time. And I believe this is like, if not 2 inches, it's at least 1.5 inches apart. Yeah, I think it is 2 inches. So that's kind of how that one turned out. And I like that it like goes with the pattern and stuff. And I think this one's really cute. And then the last one is also a kind of similar thing. So this is what it looks like. It's holding my Mayflowers tree from Hello from Miss Matthews. And this is a little pouch. This fabric is from Moda, maybe? Moda Bloom, I think. Spring Blooms, maybe. And then this is from the Moda Cider collection. I used this on another bag that you've already seen. And so for this one, because they were straight up and down, like little leaves or whatever, little motifs, I did diamonds again, but this time the diamonds enclose 4 in the vertical position. So you can see this, they're vertical diamonds. Can you see that? And this is the one where I did do white thread for the top stitching and then white everywhere. This is the one where I did white everywhere, whereas on this one I did white for the quilting and the navy for this, same as the other one. But this one I did white everywhere because this blue is quite light and the navy looked a little much. So yeah, so you can see, so I kind of quilted around the diamonds again. So I sort of cut it off. Each line kind of ran through this little second circle, or at least right near this part between the second and the third circle on the kind of tail of these leaves. And I think it turned out really well. I'm much happier with the measuring of these and how straight up and down they are, like vertically, as opposed to being kind of skewed to the side like the owl one. But I'm really happy that I made more bags, because then now I've learned how to do it so that it doesn't skew like that in the future. So if you are interested in trying to like quilt your bags and you're very new to quilting, definitely give it a go. You can totally do it. Use my tips, baste first. Make sure that you're actually measuring the angles rather than just going for it like I did, and because I didn't know any better. And give yourself an extra like inch for the basting, just because it's better to trim it than it is to run out and then not have the binding fit perfectly. But I'm really happy that I kept going with it and I tried again because now I have some more new skills. The other thing that I got for my sewing machine, besides the button sewing stuff and the guide, was I also got a extension table for my sewing machine because it was like really hard to quilt on it with everything like falling off the edge of it. So I got the little brother quilt table extension. I think it was 20 pounds for my particular sewing machine, and that has just improved things so much because now it just lays flat as I'm quilting on it, or just sewing in general, like any kind of sewing. I've kind of just been using it all the time, unless it's something where it's like circular and I needed to, you know, have it wrap around the machine. But that has been an absolute godsend. I really would say, you know, the things that sewing machine attachments can do for you, even as a beginner, like they really are worth it, because I think there are so many, they expand a beginner sewing machine's abilities by like a zillion fold, and also I think that they give you so many more skills that you can learn as a beginner, which I've really been enjoying. So I would really recommend, like, if you have been kind of like, oh, I don't think I could do that on my machine, you know, see what kind of attachments your machine can get for the feet. Some of the feet are expensive, like a walking foot is like 30 pounds or something, but some of the other ones, like my button sewing foot that I got, it was like £1.50. So like, and that's the official brother license one either. Like I wasn't buying, you know, knockoffs on Amazon or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just mean even the official licensed one was that cheap. So, you know, it's not necessarily something that's out of your wheelhouse if you're still a beginner and you're not like in the market, you know, to get like a much more expensive machine yet, because you don't think that you're a good enough sewer to have one, but you do want to be learning those kind of things. So maybe in a few years you could get a machine that comes with some more stitches and that kind of thing. Again, I'm saying this as a complete beginner myself, so like I'm not the authority on sewing in any sense, but just sharing my personal experience of sewing every day for the last like 2.5 weeks. Which has been awesome, and you really have to watch Sewing Bee. Okay. Also, because I want to talk in the comments about who you think is going to win, because I'm like really between Serena and Rebecca, but also Nico really thinks that Raph is really good, and he is really good, and so Nico really thinks that Raph might take it in the final, but I'm just not sure. Anyway, discuss below. Okay, so let's do Happy Mail, because I have Happy Mail, and then I will get into haul and plans, and then we can call it a day. So I had a very lovely lady named Teresa reach out to me on Instagram. She is from the Czech Republic, and she said she wanted to send me some goodies from her neck of the woods, some things that are like specific to her area, so that I could kind of see, you know, what kind of stitchy stuff is available in different cultures or whatever, which is super cool idea. Thank you so much, Teresa. That was so sweet. I loved messaging with you, and I thought I would share it with you guys because there's some really cool stuff in here. So she sent me this beautiful postcard of her hometown, and this is the cathedral in her hometown. And she has sent several very beautiful things. So first up, there were some little cards, which I thought were really pretty. Oh, and everything that she sent, I believe, is specifically either a Czech Republic like cultural item or something made by a Czech artist, which I think was really cool. Oh, there was also this one. Pretty. I love these. Might put little notes on them. And then she sent some threads. These are made by a company with a very long tradition. She's left little notes on them, which is really, really sweet. So since 1848, they've produced wool, and since 1849, they've produced floss and other stitchy items. And she says that under socialism in the 20th century, every woman had a box with these threads at home, and she still has one that her grandmother had, which I think is really cool. I love how bright some of these colors are. This would be really fun to stitch something with. I think maybe I'll do like some kind of small with these would be really pretty, like something with flowers or something. These are screaming like flower colors to me. I love them. And they feel really soft, like softer than DMC, which is interesting. I can't wait to see how they stitch up. It's from Nitarna, I think is the name of the brand. They have a website. I'll see if I can link the website. And then she also sent some stickers. I know everybody's into stickers right now. So these are some stickers drawn by a Czech artist, and they're all of stitching. So there's like a sewing machine and floss and some like buttons and all kinds of stuff. And she has a little note on the back to say that this right here, these are all typical like sewing items used in the Czech Republic. And she says that she has all of these in her craft room, and that this particular basket with the roses is actually a paper envelope filled with needles. That's an item used in their culture, and I think that's really cool. I'd never seen that before. I'm glad she told me that, or I would have just thought it was a basket of flowers. But yeah, I really like these stickers. I can't wait to stick them on stuff. The little rotary cutter and the pin cushion, and oh, they're so pretty. I love it. And then she sent 2 little fabric things. Oh, well, actually, first she sent these sweet candles. And then she sent Madrotisk. I don't know. If you're from the Czech Republic, please correct me on my pronunciation. Which she says is a traditional technique for coloring fabrics and like dyeing fabrics and printing them. And since the 18th century, these fabrics are part of the traditional dress kroj, usually in Moravia, which is part of the Czech Republic. And since 2018, production of this fabric is part of UNESCO, actually. And it's 100% cotton. So just a little... It's a good swatch. You sent quite a bit in here. Thank you so much. Maybe I'll use this on a project bag or something. Or I guess I don't know exactly how much is in there. But I'd love to make a little bag with it. That'd be really beautiful. And then she also sent some linen. So this is perlika, made in the Czech Republic as well, but hand dyed in Slovakia, this particular piece. And she says the size is very similar to a 36 count linen, a bit bigger than that, but not so much. And it's a beautiful, let me see if I can take it out. It's a really beautiful modeling. Isn't that lovely? That pink and that, actually, it's not picking up. It's not doing it any justice. Let's see if I can, yeah, that's what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful? That pink and the purple and the orange. I absolutely love this. I can't wait to stitch something on this. It kind of, I feel like something fall would look really pretty on that. Like a kind of fall piece. Oh, I just can't wait to stitch something with it. I have to figure out what I want to do. Feels really nice. I love it. If I can get like a link to wherever she got this from and message her, I will put that below because people need to be buying from this dyer. Look at that. Oh, I love it. This is just the most generous, thoughtful gift to like share a bit of your stitchy home with me. Just, oh, it made me tear up. Anyway. No, I'm not gonna cry. Okay. Nope, not. We're not crying on Flosstube. No, we are not. And then the last thing that she sent was some buttons. And those buttons are the buttons that I used on the back of here. I used 2 of the 4. Let's see if you can. They have really pretty flowers on them. They're nice wooden buttons. And I wanted to put them on the pillow, you know, as a little special memory attached to it of Flosstube. So thank you so, so much, Teresa, for that. That was just the most lovely, lovely happy mail. So cool to hear a bit about where you're from and to see what kind of stitchy stuff is close to your heart. Thank you so much. So cool to see the different kind of stitchy, like, accoutrement in different places. That's just really cool. So Liz, hello from Liz Matthews, sent over a copy of Butterfly Cloche for me to stitch. So this is a PDF that she sent to me. Thank you so much, Liz. I cannot wait to say this. We had been messaging on Instagram a bit ago, a few weeks ago, and I said how much I loved Butterfly Cloche and I couldn't wait to stitch it. And she said, oh, well, I'm sending it to you then. So, yay! Can't wait to do it. Look at how beautiful it is. Actually, other Liz, Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, and I were just messaging about how we really want to do the little paperweights on it in particular, so there might be some kind of butterfly cloche sal coming at some point. You know, if I don't have, you know, 5 Liz Matthews projects on the go at any one time, am I even Evelyn across the pond? I don't think so. Okay, so haul. I've gotten a couple of things. So I kitted up Hello Sunshine, for one. I went ahead and I got some new charts. I will show you the digital ones first. I think it's just the one. Well, I bought Hello Sunshine, the chart as well as the threads. And then I also bought, if you are my friend Lindsay and you are watching this, please do not watch this and please look away for the next period of time. I do not think you watch my videos, but if you do, don't watch this. Oh, I don't think this has a cover photo. No, it actually doesn't. Okay, I'll put a picture on the screen. So, Lindsay and our friend Sam are getting married this summer, and so I'm gonna stitch them a wedding sampler. And so I bought this one, and it comes with the, like, 4 different alphabets that you can choose from, plus some number fonts that you can choose from. And so I'm going to stitch them up this. Their wedding is in July, so my plan is to start it this month and have it finished by July. I don't think it'll take me that long based on the stitch count and the fact that it's like DMC color blocking, but I think it'll be really pretty, and I just am really excited about like giving someone a wedding sampler as a gift. So yay. Okay, Linz, if you're there, you can listen again, but I don't think so. And then I also picked up the new Celebration Small freebie from Liz Matthews, which is called Bloom, which I will show here on the screen, which is beautiful. You can get that if you are subscribed to her newsletter, which I will link to that below. I don't think I bought any other digital charts, but I did get 2 paper charts. So these came back in stock on Patchwork Rabbit, so I picked them up. So first up, I got Lighting the Way from Silver Creek Samplers, which says, "Always be a lighthouse, shine your beacon bright, guide every soul adrift at sea throughout their darkest night." I just really liked the look of this lighthouse. So beautiful. So I picked up, to go with it, in the same order, I got another skein of White Lightning, which is the color of the lighthouse, I believe. Which is like a gray, white variegated from Weeks Dye Works. I have a skein of this already, but I'm using it in like 2 other projects, so in case I was gonna run out, I just picked up another one. And then I also picked up kind of a special chart, as I'm sure everyone knows because I talk about her every video. Sean, Craftivating Creations, and I are stitchy BFFs, and whenever we have any kind of chats with each other, like video chats or any kind of chat, we always just end up talking for like 9 million hours longer than we thought we were going to. So when we saw Silver Creek Samplers Butter Believe It, we were like, we have to stitch this as like a BFF chart, you know, like a friendship kind of sampler thing. So it says, "I have a lot to say, maybe you should get popcorn." And it's just like us in a nutshell. And so there are only a couple of fancy floss threads for this one. I was able to pick up 2 of them, but there's one that seems to be out of stock in like every country, which is Squash. No, it's not. Which is Pumpkin Pie by Gentle Arts. But I was able to get Gentle Arts Blue Jay and Weeks Dye Works Squash. Which is the popcorn, and then the blue lettering. The one that's out of stock is the Pumpkin Pie, which is the orange lettering. We're debating on whether or not we'll use a red kind of variegated for that instead. It depends, I guess, on whether things come back in stock. I think we're going to start that at some point this summer. And I'm debating as well what I want to stitch it on. I think the called for fabric is Fog. 18 count Fog from Picture This Plus. I wouldn't stitch it on Ada. I'd stitch it on linen, but I don't know how I feel about this color with the fabric. I was thinking about maybe doing either a pure white, or using like a neutral, like this is my Sparkly's gingerbread that I have, something like that maybe. I don't know. I have time to decide, but I'm debating on my on my bag. What do you think? Do you think that the gingerbread would look good? I feel like it might. I don't know. I guess I don't have all the floss to be able to do a floss toss for you. Maybe once I get all the threads, I'll do a floss toss on my Instagram stories and like put a poll or something and be like, help, help, I need floss advice, help. Okay, and then the last things that I bought are fabric. So I got all these from Love Crafts, and 2 of them, like I mentioned, were fat quarter bundles, and then 2 of them were just regular orders that I placed. So this one is from the Ruby Star Society small collection. And then I got a half meter of that, I think. And then I got this one, which is Sunshine Soul Sunbloom Soiree. I'll see if I can find the actual maker of this. I think it's Moda, but I'll check. I could be wrong. And then I got this Annabella fat quarter bundle in Bohemian Rhapsody. So it includes these 2, which you've already seen. And then this one, and this one, which I thought were really pretty. And then I also got another fat quarter bundle, which included these 2 that you already saw. And this is the Craft Cotton Company one. And it also has this cute little umbrellas in the rain. And a little bike with flowers in the baskets. And then some gardening shoes that have the same fabrics as the other one. So like this, the fabric on the shoes, or the print of the shoes is the same as this fabric, which I thought was a cool touch. So yeah, so those were just some little fabric stuff that I picked up to be able to make some more bags. I also got some vinyl for the bags, but I don't have that to show you because I made bags with it. But yeah, that's everything that I got. I think that's all my haul. Not as much as some other times, but you know, fabric is expensive, so that was kind of took up my stitchy budget for the month. So let's see, plans. I want to keep working on my frosted pumpkin wreath, get that part finished, and then I think I'm going to start my 3-day rotation again. I'm not following any plans for June. I think I'm still thinking that I do want to do some form of Jolly July, but I haven't actually started the planning of that yet. I probably need to, but I haven't. So for right now, I'm just going to stick with my rotation. And then in terms of knitting, I'd like to finish the first sock, but it's been so hot, I haven't really been picking it up. So like, we'll see. And then sewing wise, there is a pattern for a skirt by McCall's that's like a learn to sew clothes pattern, like learn how to do a skirt. I'll put a picture of it up here. And I kind of want to do the second pattern in it, pattern B. I'll show that. So I might be looking into purchasing that and like getting some fabric for it in the future, like the near future. You know, it's on the radar. Again, watching a lot of people sew stuff makes you want to sew stuff. So just fair warning, if you do start watching Sewing Bee because of me, just like be prepared to want to sew all the time. Yeah, I think that's kind of my stitchy plans for the time being. Hopefully I won't have to be away so long again. I don't foresee anything crazy happening in the next few weeks, so hopefully I'll be back normal time. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you see, please give this a thumbs up. Please comment down below about the content question that I asked and like anything else obviously that you wanted to comment about, but just if you had any thoughts about stuff you would like to see as little Flosstube extras on the channel, just let me know. If you also liked what you see and you were new here and you want to come back again, if you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, then you'd be notified when I post next videos. I have gotten some people messaging me saying that they didn't get notifications and stuff for my last video, so just like, I guess, check if you normally do and you didn't get them last time, that it's all fine or whatever. If you also want to see a bit more from me, you can follow me over on my Instagram at Evelyn Across the Pond. I post kind of more updates on my progress over there. Follow me over there if you want to see more of my little stitchy journey behind the scenes kind of updates. And thank you all so much for spending some time with me. It was really good to be back with you and hang out with you again. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see you soon. I hope you all have a great day, a great weekend, a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye!